Hi, I'm Mike Canavan with Icarus Tours. This is how to play Suburbia. So Suburbia, you're trying to have the most points at the end of the game, which are called population. It's a little picture of a meatball when you're looking for it in the game. The game will end when this tile comes up. This tile will be located about halfway through the C stack. And when this comes up, you'll play normally until the person who started the game's turn it is. They'll take one more turn, and then everybody else will get one more turn, and then the game will be over. At that time, you'll score objectives and see who has the most number of points. So you'll score points or population as you play through the game, but you also get a large number from these objectives. You'll start the game with 2 objectives, of which one you'll discard and one you'll keep, and it'll stay secret throughout the game. And then there'll be a number of public objectives equal to the number of players in the game. So at the end of the game, everybody will reveal their secret objective. If they met its needs, then they'll score those points. If not, no one scores them. And then the public objectives will just go to the players who match the needs, and they'll get those points. And then whoever has the most points at that time will win. The game plays fairly simply. You just, with the starting player, just go around the table over and over. Everybody takes an action one at a time until the one more round tile comes up, and then you'll score points and see who wins. So on your turn, it's fairly simple, but it is important that you follow a specific flow path, which they go over very clearly on the player aids here. So you start by choosing one of 2 actions, which is either to buy a tile and add it to your board, or to place an investment marker. Once you do that, you resolve your board, and then you gain your income and money, and you gain your reputation, which just becomes population, which are victory points. And then once you're done with that, you slide all the tiles to the left and add a new tile to the spot at the end. And it's important to remember that in most turns, you'll buy one of these, so they'll become a space, which makes that obvious. But if you do take an action which does not remove one of the tiles, you have to get rid of one of them. You have to pay the extra cost, which we'll go over in a minute, in order to get rid of it. So you'll typically get rid of one of the 2 free ones here at this end. So if you've done something that you didn't get rid of one of these, you do have to get rid of one of them, and then that allows you to put a new tile out. So there will be a new tile coming out every turn. So just quickly again, when it's your turn, you'll take one of 2 actions: buy and place a tile, or put an investment marker. Then you'll resolve your board, then you'll gain money equal to your income, and then you'll gain population equal to your reputation, which are victory points. So let's take a look at the player board and the market and discuss kind of buying tiles and how the tiles work. So there's 4 symbols in the game, and those are population, which is the little meeple, money, which is the money symbol, and then there's reputation, which is the black square, and income, which is the white circle. So it's important to understand that when you score money and population, you get those immediately in terms of, the game's little fake money here, and victory points, which are the population. But when you score income and reputation, you track that on the track. So the income's little white circles, which move up and down, and the black is the reputation, which moves up and down. So income and reputation affect you for the rest of the game. Population and money is just a one-time thing. So when it's your turn, you're going to, for the most part, most of the turns, you're just going to buy a tile and place it. The only other option is to play one of these investment markers. So when you buy a tile, you just pay its cost. So this tile is $6, and then you also have to pay its position on the track. The 2 rightmost spots are free, and the leftmost spot is $10. It's just a range in between those, and this is where the new tiles come on. So these are the cheaper tiles down here at the end, where you kind of definitely are going to start buying the tiles from. So when you buy a tile, you pay the money, and then the only rule for placing it is it has to touch at least one of your other tiles. So you can put it here, but you can't put it, say, here, or kind of out here planning to put a tile here later. It's got to touch your tile. And then it's important to understand that when you place a tile, you immediately resolve it and all the other tiles that reference it. So in this example, you would get +1 population and $2 for every green tile. So if I put that here, I get a victory point on the population tracker immediately, and then it says I get $2 for every green tile. So I have 2 green tiles, which would be $4, but I also get $2 for every other green tile in the game, because it doesn't say your green tiles. And then also this one, which is the community park, says that I get +1 black square, which is reputation, for every adjacent orange, green, or blue. So I would get a reputation as well. And then once I had done this and resolved this entirely, I would get money equal to my income and population equal to my reputation. And then it'd be the next player's turn after I moved these down and added another tile to the board. Okay. And then just kind of to look at some of the other tiles. So this is another green one, which is generally kind of housing. I get 2 population immediately. It costs 0, but I lose 1 reputation for every adjacent blue, which are the commercial buildings. This is an airport, which there are a few of in the game. I get +1 income, so that would affect me for the rest of the game. And instead of if that were just money. And I get +1 reputation for every airport, including other people's airports. And I would lose 1 reputation for every adjacent green, which are the housing. So this one, it's a warehouse. I would lose reputation, but gain 2 income for each adjacent blue, so each adjacent commercial zone. And you can see this fast food restaurant, costs 7. I get +1 income. It's got the little restaurant symbol, which other tiles may reference, and I get +3 population, so not reputation. I would score these immediately for each adjacent green square. Remember, all of these, if I would put this down, say here, I would only score 3 points for this adjacent green, but every time I put another green around it, I would get those 3 population, because I update each tile every time I play a tile. And then there are these municipal tiles, so like the government buildings. So this one I get +3 income, and I get $2 for each of your gray ones. So this one would only count my gray ones. I can also buy these 3 generic tiles up here, the community park, the heavy factory, and the suburbs, if I don't want to buy one of these tiles down here. They're a little cheaper, but they're kind of more generic and basic if I want to do that. My other option, instead of buying a tile, is to put one of these investment markers down. When I do that, I pay the cost of the tile again. So if I wanted to do it on this community park, it would cost me $4. I put this little marker down, and it effectively just makes it so you can think of that there are 2 exact copies of that tile placed right here. So I would just do it all again. So on this tile, I would lose another income. I would gain another reputation for each adjacent tile, which would be 1, 2, 3 more reputation. But it would also count for this one, which says -1 reputation for each adjacent gray. So I would gain 3 reputation and lose 1. I'd gain 2. So once you've taken one of those 2 actions, you gain money equal to your income and population equal to your reputation. And then it's important to understand that you do everything in order because of how the board works. So in this, you can see the scoring board, and these red lines, when you score your population, either from gaining population by placing the tile or from getting it from reputation, you move here on the population track. And every time you cross one of these red lines, as it shows right here, you lose an income and you lose a reputation, which would be on your board. That would affect you for the rest of the game. So as your population grows up, it's going to be harder and harder to keep a high income and high reputation. So it's important to do it in order, because if you score a few population while you're placing tiles and cross a red line, your income and reputation go down before you score them. But if you cross a red line because you scored your reputation at the end of the game, you score your income first. So you would score your income, then you would get points based on your reputation, cross the red line, and your income would go down. So it's a subtle difference, but it's important that you keep track uh, and play through your turn in the appropriate order, which is take an action, then get your income and reputation, and then adjust the markers. So those are the basics of Suburbia. There's really only a few more things to understand. If you don't have money or you want to get more money, instead of buying a tile from the market, you can make one of them into a lake. When you do that, you only have to pay money equal to the position. You don't have to pay equal to the cost of the tile. So you just take it from one of the two most right spots. It'll be free. On the back of every tile is the lake symbol, and it just says right on it, you get $2 for every adjacent building. So you just put that right on your board. You get $2 for everything adjacent to it that's not another lake. And then, of course, if you play more around it, you'll keep getting $2 every time you put something next to it. So that's really a way to get more money instead of spend money when it's your turn. The only other thing to remember is as the tiles deplete, you'll go through the A stack first, and then you'll go through the B stack, and then eventually go through the C stack, which will have that one more round tile. When that one more round tile comes out, that's immediately when you go to everybody gets one more action, starting with the first player. You don't have to wait for it to get through the line or anything like that. You do it immediately. So just as a quick recap, on your turn, you'll take one of two actions. Action one, you can buy a tile and immediately place it on your board. You can take it from the market or from the three types of generic tiles, or you can make one of the market ones into a lake and get money. The other thing you can do is put an investment token on one of your tiles. You just repay the cost of that tile. You put the investment token on it, and then it just counts as an exact duplicate of that tile in the exact same spot. And you just redo your whole board and get money, population, income, or reputation based on that. You'll keep doing that until the game ends. Then you'll score the objectives, and whoever has the most number of points wins. That's how you play Suburbia. In terms of a general strategy for Suburbia, I really can't stress how important it is in the beginning of the game to get income. Victory points, the population, little people, are almost counterproductive to get because every time you cross one of those red lines, you lose an income and you lose a reputation. And the income is so important so that you can buy a good tile every turn so that you can build your city up. So don't worry at all about population and reputation. I wouldn't go negative in the beginning on reputation, but I wouldn't worry about it so long as you are building up an income base. I know a lot of the guys I play with, halfway through the game, they always look over me like, how do you build up that much income? And I say, because that's all I do in the beginning of the game, is build up income. Are there other strategies that are viable? Absolutely. But for a new player, build up a pretty decent income, and by decent, I mean 8, 9, 10, 11 income every turn before you ever even start to worry about reputation or population or those things. Some of the things that give you money instead of income can also be good as long as they're going to give it to you frequently enough, like that homeowners association where you get $2 every time somebody plays a green. Basic strategy, trying to get your own secret objective is usually pretty darn good and usually fairly doable. Trying to go for at least one of the public objectives is also advisable in a game. So just kind of follow that. Get income first, then worry about population and reputation, and try and get a couple objectives is the basic strategy of Suburbia. My take on Suburbia is a little complicated. I love playing the game. It is super fun. Building your little city, it really does give you that kind of SimCity and a board game feel of managing your income and your reputation, but not as fiddly as they could have made the game. I'm very glad that it's not super fiddly with all sorts of little trackers that you need to take. So it is super fun to play. I absolutely hate scoring the game at the end of the game because I think the objective system is horrible. Which really taints the game for me when I'm recommending it. I love to see people play it because it is fun, and I'm definitely the type of player that likes to play things for fun. But I feel like the objectives are done so poorly for one very simple reason, and that's the objectives in which you're trying to score the fewest number of things. Not only is trying to get the fewest of something just not fun to play, but it creates a situation when your secret objective, or even when the public objective is you're trying to get the fewest number of things, your strategy for that is literally just sitting around hoping that the other players do something instead of you having to do something to achieve it. And it's just incredibly frustrating when your secret objective is the fewest number of lakes or the fewest number of city tiles or whatnot, and whatever player is just not going to make one, and thus you are guaranteed to tie because you're both going to have either 0 or 1, whatever you started with. So I just hate that. It also creates a situation where the fewest and the most of something can be out at the same time, and since there's only 2 to 4 players, I hate the fewest. In the future, I will probably house rule just taking out all the fewest ones because I think the game would be 100 times better if those were out. That is a very, very personal thing that I personally hate about it. As I talk to other players, it doesn't bother them as much. They're just like, whatever. So I think you'll love the game. I think it's really, really great. You may just be really frustrated like me about the fewest objectives. Other than that, awesome game. 2 thumbs up. Suburbia was really popular at TetonCon 2014. Saw a ton of play. It plays fairly quick. If you know how to play it, 2 players can easily get done with a game in probably 40 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes if you're really kind of pushing it. Teaching 4 new players how to play it'll definitely take a little longer just because of the board resolution, or if it doesn't click with somebody, it may take a little longer. But I use it as kind of like, you've got an hour until whatever event that we were going to run was going to start, or that group's going to be done in maybe 30, 40 minutes. You guys want to play a game of Suburbia. With a couple of people helping to do the setup, it sets up pretty quick. It plays really quick, and it's fun. There's a lot of game in that small amount of time. So it was really, really popular at TetonCon 2014. I suspect it'll see a lot of play in the future.